first of all, before I start this, obviously, okay, it's not perfect. The sun is going to be blocking the view a little bit from time to time, but I promise it won't be that bad for the entirety of the video. Second of all, I also cracked my screen. Sometimes, like right now, it doesn't look terrible, but other times, depending on where I'm at or where the camera's at, you can kind of see like little glimpses of things, and that is the cracks in the screen. I'll do my best to record as much as I can with the back-facing camera as opposed to the front-facing camera, but if you can bear with me, I would so appreciate that. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while, really ever since I started PAing. I wanted to showcase a day in the life of a PA, but the thing is that the way a lot of shows run, sometimes it's just not allowed. Sometimes the environment is really just too wild and too crazy for that. Just various reasons why I haven't done it, and this is one of those shows where I think it's kind of relaxed enough that I can do that. The longest running singular job I've had working on a production was for 6 months, and that was my very first job. When I moved to New York City, I kind of got acclimated to being a extra hand or a additional PA. I would hop onto a show from time to time for a few weeks if they needed extra help, depending on whatever was going on, and I would help out. And then I would leave and I would go on to the next job. And it was something that I got very comfortable with. And I also found that I was able to make really decent career strides, honestly, doing that. Right now, I am an additional PA on a Hulu show. Oh, this is gonna be really shaky. The roads in New York suck, guys, sorry. Right now, I'm on my way to the truck, which is the wardrobe truck, which is going to be not usually directly on set, but incredibly close to set. So I'm doing a drop off. They ordered some crafty, which they want at the truck, and there was an alt that needed to be done, and I'm taking that as well. And then I'll go back to the office. My goal is just to get as many views of what it really is like to be a costume PA. But I do want to say that normally I would not be working in an environment where I could even film this. All right, I will be back. And that's it for now. My God, there's so much shit in this fucking car that it thinks that there are 3 passengers in my back seat that are not buckled, and if I don't fix it, it is going to make this sound for the next hour while I drive. I'm gonna start screaming. Okay, so right now I'm getting breakfast. This is the breakfast truck. They cook fresh things for people on set every day. So if you do a drop off, you can get breakfast. And then over there in the tents, they'll have more stuff like potatoes, eggs, omelets, stuff like that. So this is just white bread with cheese, eggs, tomatoes, and avocado. I would have gotten some extra stuff, but they're packing up for the day. Like, they're fucking done. So it's pretty late in the day. And I also got a green juice. I have an insane amount of shit in this car, and I have to drive for an hour. So I'm going to drive slowly and carefully. I don't even have anywhere to put my breakfast, except like literally on the Prindle. I'm gonna drive as slow as possible, and then when I get back to the office, I'm gonna need at least 2 or 3 racks to unload all of this stuff. They try to send as much stuff back with PAs to the costume shops whenever they can. I always ask, Like, do you guys have anything that you want me to take back? Because I get it. Most of this stuff is going to be restock, returns, or things for characters' closets. Depending on the show and if it gets another season or whatever, it'll go into storage, or they'll try to sell it, or it'll get donated. So I'm going to go back to the office now, drive carefully, pray I don't get pulled over, and yeah. What happened?
This is absurd.
Okay, hi Rob, how are you? I'm okay. So, what exactly is it that you do here at this Hulu show that we're not going to name?
I write up receipts and then I put them into Cache, which is our accounting software.
Ooh, so much fun.
And I do other dumb shit. And I keep a smile on my face because that's all you can do.
Where are we going right now?
We're going to the production office to make an iced coffee.
For Crafty. This is the Crafty area upstairs for like everybody. We have drinks and such, teas. Rob is being rich and making an iced coffee. I am just gonna get water. Oh, a secret stash. So we work in like a WeWork kind of situation. So there can be a lot of various companies here, but sometimes the costume shop is completely separate from the production, which is like everybody else. Sometimes it's in the same building, which is great because production will get their own Crafty, and then we as a costume department will have Crafty too. Okay, so this here is the return section, which is in a bit of disarray. Normally these things up here are called shingles, and so you will separate everything by store. A few of these racks need to be sorted into store areas. These are all bags that have to go out to stores to be returned, and then packages that will box up we'll put over in the corners. The way that things are organized in a costume shop is by a sticker system. So everything that is purchased by a person is organized by their P card, which is their company credit card. So when we get items in, we put the date on it, the store on it, and it's color coded by whose card the item is purchased on. What I like to do as an additional PA is compile a list of every possible receipt I'll need to return literally every single item that is in the return section. I'll grab a binder which is organized by card, and I'll just flip through and pull out any receipts that are on my list. And I just take the time, maybe 20 minutes to 45 minutes, pulling out receipts. And then by the end of that process, I'll have a huge stack of receipts, and then I can spend the next 3 hours just knocking out receipts. I find that this is much faster and simpler than going to the rack, looking at a sticker, then going to a binder, and then the paperwork is not there. Sometimes the paperwork has to be pushed through Cache, through the coordinator. Sometimes things aren't even taped up yet. This way I can just have a stack of receipts and get going. For the returns process, all I'm doing is matching the UPC that is on the tag to the UPC that is on the receipt. I have to do this for every item because if it doesn't match, then whoever goes out for returns has wasted their entire day of lugging a bunch of items out with them. I take off all stickers, and then I will bag up the items. I remove the receipt from the paperwork and then place it into a Ziploc bag. In costumes, generally, we use Ziploc bags or envelopes so that receipts don't get lost. And I copy the information from the top right hand of the page onto the Ziploc bag so that everything can be matched up once the returns are finished. Then the receipt is attached to the bag, in this case the garment bag, on which the returns are put into.
And this is essentially what I'll spend my day doing, especially as an additional. I'll make sure to get as much clothes and returns packed as I can, because almost every single day the designers are bringing more stuff into the return section because they're not happy with it, they're not going to use it, or they just don't like it. So the goal is to just not get the return section too crazy and pack up as much as you can and get it out of the office. And believe it or not, I actually enjoy doing these most of the day. I'll put on a podcast or a movie that I've seen before and just zone out doing returns for the rest of the day.
Good morning, friends. Well, it's morning for me. It's like 9:15 right now. I'm back in the car. You can see the cracks really bad today. Guys, I don't know. I just don't know. I should preface this by saying that as a PA, sometimes, depending on your position, where you live, and like how your team feels, you get to take a rental car home. I think every department gets a rental car, but definitely for costumes, you always get at least one rental car for returns, for pickups, drop-offs, things like that. And they always give us like mom minivans because they feel like it's just so convenient for multitudes of stuff. And you guys saw yesterday how much like crap I had to bring back to the office. And so in some respects, yes, it is great, but also, who wants to be riding around in a minivan? Anyway, the coordinator, which is the position above being a PA, if they choose to, will usually also take a car home. And so our coordinator, my boss, Masira, has the costumes PA van. She lives in Jersey, so it like makes sense for her to take the car home. Unfortunately, though, this morning she drives in the other PA, Karina. The tire popped, so neither of them are there in the office as of right now. They're waiting for a tow truck, and then they're gonna have to turn in, what is everybody doing? They're gonna have to turn in that minivan for a new one. I say all that to say that I am back in the car running things to set because I am currently driving the only available car that we have. Honestly, on most shows that I've worked on, each PA has a particular job, and you do that job every single day, kind of like a Ford assembly line. You have a returns PA that does returns. You have a paperwork PA that does paperwork. You have a driving PA that's gonna do all of the driving. Only sometimes, every now and then, will that switch up, and that's for special circumstances like a car breaking down, somebody being sick, or something of that nature. We'll see what today holds. There will be something new other than returns, since Monday was returns day. And I'll talk to you guys really soon.
Hi. Okay, this is the costume shop. Here is the return area from yesterday. This is our check-in area where we hang up and sticker new shopping here. This is our PA desk. I just finished eating lunch. That's why it looks like this. Say hi.
Hey, hi.
This here is Masira, my boss, the coordinator. What do you do, Masira?
I twiddle my fingers. Okay. I make sure people are doing what they need to be do so things can get done.
Okay. She has, I think, one of the hardest jobs. Every time I've tried to coordinate, it's been really freaking hard.
It's like accounting. It's also therapy.
Yep.
You know, you're a therapist, you're an accountant, you're a manager.
Yep.
You're a printer fixer. Sometimes I'm IT. I'm everything.
She's chained to this desk literally all day.
All day.
Okay, here is where the designers sit, the ACD and the costume designer. You can see they have a calendar, a mood board, and some pieces that they're working with for characters. And then over here, we have rental lines. So when you work in costumes, sometimes for stock purposes, you'll rent items out from different companies and studios. And so that's where all of this comes from. And so we have a costumer who organizes everything very diligently. So if the designers ever want to shop for items, they can go and look at long sleeve shirts, short sleeve shirts, dresses, shorts, shoes, anything like that. This is a fitting room. That's me. Here is where they'll take pictures. And so every outfit that they choose for fitting has to get approved. So even though a lot of things are a decision by a costume designer and the ACDs, they still don't always have the absolute final say. Somebody else has to look at photos and decide, well, we want them to wear this, or maybe we can mix these several things together. They're prepping for a fitting right now, so these are the options. And here we have more stock. You can see everything is carefully organized. And then we are moving into the tailor's area. So most things have to be tailored or fixed or made special for various reasons. And so we have a tailor, and this is her workspace. She basically has a mini studio. She has dress forms, thread in various colors, serger, ironing, cutting table, and then we just have rows and rows of stock. And these are established looks that are going to be seen on camera here. And that's our shop. So every time things are purchased, we have a process for checking the items in. So this is what comes before returns. The shoppers will give us receipts for everything that they've purchased. A lot of times, if they're great shoppers, they'll write the character on the back of the receipts, and that's transferred to the front for budgeting reasons. Then on the top right-hand corner of the page, you'll write the store, then you'll write the date that it was purchased, you'll write the card that it's on, and the total amount of the receipt. And this just makes it easier for any paperwork reasons, like uploading the receipts to Cache for the accounting department, or even for returns, so that if things are bought in multiples or on the same day, you know exactly which receipt the item came from. Then you count how many items are on the receipt, and then you'll grab the coordinating stickers that are matched with whoever's card the items were bought on. You'll put the date, you'll put the store, and then you use these stickers to sticker each item. Most designers are very particular about how they like things presented for them. So things have to be hung up on correct hangers, meaning top hangers for tops, bottom hangers for bottoms, unless you run out of hangers. Some designers are so particular as to saying, I only want to use clear hangers, I don't want to use opaque white or black hangers. And then a lot of times, once they're on the rack, they should be organized generally by the way that a person gets dressed, which usually means bottoms first, then tops, and then you'll put skirts together, shorts together, pants together, blouses together, jackets together, things like that. The goal of a PA really in the process of checking in is just to make the designer's lives as easy as possible. Somebody has taken the time to shop for everything, and now it's your job to present everything. A good costume PA will generally take the time to write out descriptions of every item that is purchased on the receipt. We also have assets. If it's a show with a huge budget, your asset may be $500. But if the budget is not that big, an asset may only be $200. If it is an asset, you have to take the time to completely describe what that item is. You have to give it a number so that when the time comes for the show to end, everything can be audited and the people that are running the show can see exactly where their money was spent. Here I'm just tagging accessories. It's really important that everything gets stickered because when it comes time to do returns and things aren't stickered, it's so difficult to figure out where they came from, when they were bought, whose card was bought them on, because a lot of times you're buying stuff from the same store. If it's a high-end show, you're probably shopping a lot on Net-a-Porter or from Saks or Bergdorf's. And if it's a show with maybe a smaller budget or just depending on who the characters are, you're shopping a lot at Old Navy,
at Gap, at K&G. And so even if an item has a tag and it's very store specific, like you can always tell where Macy's is purchased from, if I don't know who bought it and when they bought it, all I have is just a Macy's item and I have no way to connect it to anything, which means that it generally can't be returned. And so then you have sometimes hundreds, if not thousands of dollars just lying around. And that's never good because it's so easy to become over budget when shooting a project in any department, really. Here I'm just placing all of the items very neatly. Like I said, as a PA, it's your job to make the designers' lives easier and make everything look really neat for them. Sometimes on these shows, there's always a really BG, which is background heavy scene, which means you have a lot of multiples of something. This happened to be something that was going to be shot in a doctor's office, so we ended up getting a bunch of scrubs this day. And we just had to sit there, hang them up, and sticker them. And usually we'll chit-chat and kiki while we're doing this.
So much paperwork.
Stop.
I didn't do that on purpose. I'm gonna pick it up.
Wednesday ended up being a kind of boring day in terms of action, but this is a great example of what some days can look like, especially if you're a paperwork PA. I started the day ordering my lunch. My favorite thing about productions, especially in TV, is that they always feed you. So I'll take the time, usually by 9:30, 10:30, and fill out the lunch form and just specify what I want to eat for lunch. And then I spend my day doing Cachet. Cachet is an accounting service that pretty much all film and TV productions will use. Basically, it's a way to keep track of all spending. So it's kind of like looking through your bank account or your credit card transactions. Every time a card is swiped or something is purchased online, it pops up in Cachet. And it is your job or the coordinator's job, usually if there is a paperwork PA, it's both of your jobs, to upload the receipt so that accounting can see exactly what was purchased and that there's proof of what was purchased. And then you have to take the time to describe what was purchased. So this is what I'm putting in descriptions. And so if it's lunch, I'll say lunch and the amount of people that we're eating. If it was tops or dresses, I'll put that it was tops or dresses. If it's gas, if it's wardrobe supplies, whatever the case may be, it has to be described. This is basically just to make sure that your department is not stealing anything, essentially.
We're going up.
Oh,
shit.
You're going down?
Okay. Cause sometimes shit go down a little bit.
Billy Dolls in the elevator.
Okay, guys, this is the roof with an incredible view of, that's Manhattan, right? That's Queens right there, right? To the front?
Over there.
Is that the bridge, the Queens Bridge?
No, that's the Williamsburg Bridge.
Honestly, gorgeous out today. And nothing is really happening today. I mean, nothing of major interest anyway. I'm on Cachet duty today, so I'm going to be sitting at my desk with the computer all day. A lot of shows that I've worked on, you don't really get a lunch. Like, I've worked on a lot of shows where you're expected to work through lunch, really. You don't take 30 minutes, even though you're supposed to legally take 30 minutes to get lunch. People will eat, do returns, eat, do Cachet, especially if you're behind or if there's just a lot of work to do. But it's not that way here. And I've worked on maybe one or two other shows where they're like, we don't really care, take your lunch, take a second. Maybe not a full 30, but sit down, eat, relax, scroll through your phone, and then get back to work.
This is so random. My friend Rob had this idea of climbing the water tower that was on the roof. I was petrified. I'm not really scared of heights, but Climbing up a rusty ladder does not always seem like the best nor safest idea. I did my best to angle the camera to get as much footage as I possibly could, but unfortunately it didn't get us at the very top, but we did make it to the top. So here are some photos of us at the top. The view was gorgeous. We said we were going to eat lunch here again, but we ended up not ever doing that again. And honestly, I'm glad, because the thought of having to carry up stuff on the ladder sounds terrifying. And finally, I made it back down to the ground. For the rest of the day, I spent time in Cache just describing all of these items. This is very important to learn, especially if you want to move up to be a coordinator. On my last job, I actually spent 2.5 weeks helping them catch up on paperwork that they were 4 weeks behind on. And I literally just spent 12 hours a day, every single day, staring at a computer, describing things. It's not bad, it's not terrible, it can just be really mindless.
I'm about to go upstairs and make myself a fake hibiscus tea, but I'm slowly losing my mind. A lot of people don't believe me when I say that I work 60 hours a week, but when you work on a production, on-set or off-set, you're working usually a minimum of 10 hours, a minimum. And so we're here all day doing the same shit all day. And it is so easy after like weeks and weeks to just like start having a breakdown of, I don't know, mental fortitude. Working 60 hours a week is not normal. It shouldn't be considered normal, but in this industry it is. And looking at paperwork all day, staring at computer screens all day, being surrounded by clothes all day, especially if things are messy or unorganized, it can just be really hard on your mental, your physical. And so it's nice when you work in environments like this where I can come to a roof, but a lot of environments don't. And a lot of these costume shops and offices are in places where they're like abandoned buildings, or they're temporary spaces, and you're just shoved into places. I've worked in costume shops. A lot of them don't even have windows. So you're just in a space that's dingy and ugly, surrounded by massive amounts of clothes. You're just working all day, 5 days a week, and that's what you do. I don't think I got enough sleep last night. So currently, I'm just fading a little bit. We're inching closer to 5. We'll probably leave tonight around 7:45 or 8. And I got to start kind of late today. I mean, like I said, this job is lax. It's not like crazy. We haven't been working full 12s, but we've definitely been working at least 10s. But I have worked jobs where it's like, you're starting at 8, you're not leaving till 8:30, and you're also not really expected to take a lunch break, and you better get going. They're like cracking the whip. So I'm just feeling a little, I'm gonna go downstairs now and make a fake hibiscus tea. It is like real hibiscus, but it's like a fake Starbucks refresher situation. And I'm gonna get back to work. Yeah. So I did tea picks, hibiscus tea bag, blackberries, simple syrup, and spa water. Look at all this shit Karina has to return. And this is my little bitty section of return. The past few days that you guys have seen me driving, I've been driving the assistant costume designer's car, and she's on set right now in Long Island, which means we are short a car as in terms of a department. We have a big like SUV van situation, which Karina has taken out to do returns at a mall in Jersey, and she needs the big car because she has a lot of bags. And because we're down a car, I am driving a production vehicle, and I cannot set up this tripod in a way that works. This is like a cool angle, but I go over one pothole, this is over. So I'm gonna try to speak as quickly and concisely as I can, which is what I should be doing anyway. I have been sent out to do a few returns. I have a studio services return I have to drop off at Bloomingdale's.
Exactly. I have a studio services return that needs to be dropped off at Bloomingdale's, along with like just a regular store purchase that needs to be returned. Studio services is something that a lot of retail stores prefer that we do. We buy a lot of things and just return them because you get more money back that way. If you do a studio services situation, you can buy things and return them and return the items that you don't use, but essentially you have to put down a deposit, so you're still going to lose like several thousands of dollars regardless of how much you keep or how much you give back. Like I think at Saks you have to keep at least 30% of whatever memo that you take out, which means that you're down several thousands of dollars, as opposed to if you purchase it all and then return it all, you get to keep all of your money. A lot of sales associates don't like that we do in-store purchases and then just do in-store returns because they lose out on commissions. Managers don't like that because then their numbers are bad for their stores, but it's just the way that the costume industry works. So we do have some studio services things that I'm going to drop off. That's going to be very quick and easy. And then I have a couple of returns. Returns are pretty self-explanatory. I'm sure most of us have returned an item or two in our lives. I will say one thing that is nice about being a returns PA, or being the one that's like doing returns for the day, is that your day is essentially your own. You get to eat what you want. You get to organize your day however you want. Generally, people don't bother you because you just need to go out there and do returns. If you're like close by to a Target or something and you really need laundry detergent, you can go pick that up. I know some people who drag it and they get groceries and all types of wild stuff. I don't do that, mostly because I don't know the city super well, and also to me it's kind of hard to do stuff like that in the city. Like I think if you have your own car and you want to get groceries or whatever, like that's fine, but imagine coming back to the production office with groceries. Unless your boss is super chill, that's kind of like a no-no. That's gonna be my day. You guys are gonna come with me and we're gonna have a nice day out. My least favorite thing about doing returns, especially as an additional PA, is 90% of the time, the returns you're making are not the ones you packed, and vice versa. The returns you're packing are not the ones you're gonna be going out in the world to do, which means that there's always gonna be some level of confusion. Like there was a whole bag of things I was sitting there at a returns counter with that I didn't even need to sit there with. You know what I mean? And like I held up the line, which is not like, this is not the end of the world or anything. It's just annoying because I spent more time doing shit and things were just not packed properly or explained properly. And it's not anybody's fault in particular. It's just unfortunately how it goes. And like part of the reason I don't like doing returns. It's fine. It is all fine. I'll see you guys in Brooks Brothers.
Thursday ended up being a clusterfuck of a day. Sometimes you go out into the world and you're asked to do things and nothing turns out exactly as it's supposed to. I ended up driving from Bloomingdale's on 3rd down to Rock Center to return some items to Brooks Brothers that ended up being a part of Studio Services, which is Final Sale. So I parked the car, got out, walked into the store, and ended up wasting a bunch of time. So I just had to get the car back and pay for parking, even though I didn't actually do anything.
My least favorite thing about these productions is that they don't give us any money to tip the valet people. And we work in New York City, so everything is valet. The person or the people that make minimum wage are expected to use their own income to pay for these types of things. But like that should be something that productions work on or make adjustments for, considering how often we use valet services, but they don't. A lot of these valet people make concessions and adjustments just for PAs. Like there are particular places I go to park because they work with me, you know what I mean? Like a lot of valet places I've parked at in the past will be like, oh, you can't just keep coming in and out of the garage. Well, I'm not carrying all these bags all around the city, so I need to be able to come in and out of the garage to put bags down, get more bags, or whatever the case may be. So there's like a particular place in Soho I park. There's a particular place in Rock Center usually that I park, because they let me come in and out, and they know to keep the car close by where I have access to it. They'll keep the keys inside because they know I'm always popping the trunk and like putting stuff in and taking stuff out. I will tip with my own money, but again, I shouldn't have to do that, and productions really don't make it so that there is cash on hand to pay those people, which sucks. So that's that on that.
I end up driving down to Soho and parking in one of my favorite garages there. I am seen here prepping the returns. A lot of times if you come in with Ziploc bags or envelopes, people know you're part of production, so it's best to be stealth. I'll take receipts out of the plastic bags and then just lay them in the bag so that when I pull them out, it's not super obvious that I'm organized from a production standpoint. This ended up being a huge waste of time because all of the stores that I needed to return to wanted the card that you paid with present for the return. This can be difficult because the people that are shopping need their cards on hand. Whether that be shoppers, designers, ACDs, they need their cards, so I didn't have the cards to make the returns. So it had been so long since I PA'd that I forgot that I needed those things, and I ended up parking and spending more money on parking for absolutely no reason.
Oh, oops. Today has just been comedy so far.
So while I was down in Soho, my boss contacted me and said that a pickup needed to be made at Alias, which is a costume rental company. So I went there to pick up our garments, but unfortunately, when I got to the floor, it turns out they were closed for lunch. So I was getting a headache because I hadn't even eaten lunch myself. I wanted to wait until I was finished with all of my tasks, but that was a bad idea. So I took my hair down to relieve some of my headache, and I went to a coffee shop to get some water. And by the time I finished that, I went back up to the 7th floor to see if they were finished with lunch. It turns out that they were. That big plaid situation was our rental, so I got it and left.
I've heard many a pickup line, but this one guy just used one on this girl that was walking across from me, and he said, "So many things in my pocket except for your number." I thought that was smooth, and it worked. She started talking to him. I like that one. I might have to say that one. Shit. Okay, y'all, I'm driving to get my lunch, but just by coincidence, I'm passing a film set. I highly doubt it's our film set, but just to show y'all the other side, we spend all day in office, and then there's people that are actually on the set filming things. I wonder what it is. Probably some cop show. Karina. Nothing. Today is your big moment.
Apparently.
Okay, wait, I haven't actually officially, okay, Rob, everybody knows who you are. Karina, who are you?
So I'm Karina,
Yes.
the coolest girl here.
Period. And what do you do, Karina?
So I'm a costume PA.
Yeah.
And I do the most.
Exactly. Look at all this shit. Karina's the one who normally goes out with all this shit and comes back with absolutely nothing.
Period.
She's the returns queen.
Ding.
And today I'm doing this with her, and I wanted to explain exactly why I hate doing returns, and Karina's gonna explain why she loves doing returns.
I love doing returns because we have 12-hour shifts, and it's like by the time I'm done with all this shit, I get back and it's over. And I'm like, yo, let's go home.
That is a great point. I hate doing returns, and maybe yesterday has scarred me because so many times I go in, the sales associates are like, "You're returning all of that."
Oh yeah, I feel bad for them. I used to work retail though. Honestly, if it's not commission, I don't know why you're upset.
Shit.
This is the last one, for sure. I know you won't use it, but she might.
I will use a wagon inside of a mall.
So,
Not like on the streets. I will if I have to. It's not preferred.
I know. I've been last night from a new place. I tore them up.
Eddie was talking about wings.
Our public outlet really quick. Before I go to downtown Brooklyn. Like that's one where you. Oh wait.
I think we're gonna go for DSW and everything.
Hurry.
What's this mall called?
This is the Atlantic Terminal Mall.
It's true. This mall does not have a lot of stores that I would shop at.
Yeah, no, it's a little weird, honestly. I'm gonna be honest. I came here for the first time the other day. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. He looks so good. Oh, there's the liquor.
This is liquor?
Yeah, he has a liquor brand.
Karina and I started our day at the Atlantic Center Mall in Brooklyn. I did a Marshall's return, a Burlington return, and an Old Navy return.
Look at how I parked. All sticking out. Hi y'all. I haven't shown my face today. Mostly because I don't even know. This morning was a lot. Like, Rob and I went to go see Kalila last night with our friend Eddie. I didn't go to bed until 12:30 in the morning. And between waking up to get to work on time, wanting to work out, shower, and all of that, looking human was not on the schedule. I just don't look as presentable as I would want to look, particularly on a Friday, like this being my last day of filming. But you know, we're gonna rock it. The truth is that when I PA, it's so rare that I look like fab. I learned to not wear clothes that I really love because a lot of times they've gotten destroyed. And also, it's hard to wake up and, you know, maybe eat like a decent meal, work out if that's like something that you do. It's something that I've been doing. I have to do morning workouts because after work, I'm fried. I'm not doing anything after work. And then like if I work out, I have to shower. Like between doing all of those things, putting on makeup and like looking like a baddie for 12 plus hours is usually not gonna happen, especially not for like work. Like, anyway, we've completed a series of returns already. Karina is now inside attempting to do a bunch of DSW. She said yesterday when she went, they capped her. A lot of places are starting to catch on to the film industry. And I mean, even if you're not in the film industry, even if you're like an assistant for a stylist or you are a stylist yourself, there's a lot of places that are not gonna let you just do OD returns. Like, they're gonna be like, no, like at a certain point, you cannot keep doing this. But after she finishes DSW, we're gonna eat lunch. I want sushi. She's happy with sushi, so we're probably gonna go sit down and eat lunch. But most of the time when you do returns with two people, it's like, why not sit and just like chill and enjoy an actual 30-minute lunch? So by the time we get out there, we'll have like not a lot of time to try to avoid traffic. Gotta love New York. Wow. I'm not even mad at it because I do the same thing. I honk so obnoxiously. Like, I shouldn't be allowed to have a horn on my cars. Anyways, today will be chill. It's Friday. We doing returns. We're gonna get them done. We're gonna be gone all day, even though it's not a lot of stores and stuff. Just with the amount of driving, the lines, and how spread out everything is, we're gonna be gone all day. So we'll be doing this until at least bare minimum 6:30 p.m. and then I get to go home. It helps having another person doing this too, I have to say. Like doing all this on your own, which I have worked a lot of shows where they just send one person out. It's just a lot more tedious because you always have to park. You always have to take like a wagon or a Hulken or just something, or just carrying hella bags. And your hands are like hurting and cramping, and you have to stand in these ridiculous long lines, and you feel like you're wasting time. And then before you know it, it is 4 p.m. and what have you gotten done? It definitely helps having two people just to split the work. She did it! Did you get them all?
I did it all.
Damn!
Okay, ready?
Wow. Thanks, Karina.
Yay.
Where are we? We're in Brooklyn.
Yeah, we're in Kodo Sushi.
Kodo Sushi, and we're about to eat lunch. Yeah.
I gotta pay for my shit though. So it's not that cute.
After finishing up lunch in Brooklyn, we drove to the city to start in Soho and work our way up. Karina did a Mango return. I did Athleta, as well as stopping in Target to get us some water for Crafty. We also had to do a Uniqlo return and go back to And Other Stories since I was not able to get that done yesterday.
Huge blazer, a little cute bag, maybe some denim, and then some heels.
Okay.
And period.
That's cute.
Right?
I hate Soho. Okay. Right now it's 3:30-ish. We have finished over half of our returns. And now we're on our way to mid-Manhattan to do scuba. How are you feeling, Karina?
I'm feeling alright. How are you feeling? She's drained, but I'm chilling because it's Friday, but I'm ready to go. I'm gonna be honest.
Right. I want to go home.
The day's fucking dragging. I don't know if I can curse on here, but it's dragging.
It is dragging. You can't fucking curse. I've been a fucking potty mouth.
Yeah, I have a potty mouth. I need to stop.
All right. We will continue.
After leaving Soho, we drove up to the Flatiron area. We had to go to some very specific scuba store that some shopper bought a bunch of wetsuits and scuba gear from for a scene. And of course, it was non-returnable. So that was $1,000 that our department was going to be out of completely. We went further back up in Flatiron to do some Banana Factory returns, Gap, and a couple of other stores as well before we got a phone call.
Before you go into Jersey, though, there's no Nordstrom Rack in Jersey.
No. We're gonna do Nordstrom Rack out here. That's why I'm saying low key we might just have to go to Queens. But I'm gonna check the due date for it.
No. This is what you should. Okay, this is what you should do if that's the case, because you're near the Lincoln Tunnel right now.
Let me relax. I'm just kidding. I'm going crazy in here.
Brooklyn, and she was gonna go to Soho, and she was gonna have you meet her in Soho. Like that was gonna be her last stop, but she said she'll just stay in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay, clutch. All right, bye.
Yeah.
All right, bye. I'm so confused.
This job is so comical.
No, I'm so confused.
Karina, how is your day going? How is today going?
Now I'm a little annoyed. Like, I'm not gonna hold you.
We're a little blown just because we were doing returns, and the thing is when you're out for returns, sometimes people try to add stuff onto your day.
Right.
And we're also short a car as a department, which means anything that's happening in the world is put on
have to do
us.
it.
And so it's hard to try to get our job done on top of doing other stuff for other people.
Right.
And the traffic right now is ridiculous.
Because it's now rush hour.
It's rush hour in Manhattan. We're trying to get the fuck out of here.
I'm trying to get the fuck out of here.
And
which way is this fucking sending me? Like,
we're leaving now. We're finished. We're done. It's canceled. It's over.
it's canceled. It is.
But we still have 2 more returns, so.
It's all right. We're almost done.
We're almost done, people. What time is it? 5:23. The day is almost over. And then we're done with this
We
shit.
still got 3 hours, but yeah.
Don't even say that.
Then we had to leave the city and go to Brooklyn to pick up shopping from a shopper. A lot of times shoppers end their day when the stores close and they aren't given cars or anything, and they'd rather not come to the office. So if you're out in the city, it's your job to pick up shopping to bring back to the office to check in. So we got back to the office. The designer ended up buying us some Prosecco for the department, and the customer brought pie. So we ate pie, and then we left for the day, submitted time cards in the car on the way home, and that was the end of the week.
All right, friends. I'm home from a long week. I did my best to just show as many facets of PAing as I possibly could, and just how many things that we do, we have to learn, we have to get through just to make our department run and to help put on these shows that everybody watches. I appreciate anybody who watched all the way to this point. It's a lot of content, a lot of stuff going on, but I worked really hard to really get this together, and this was my first vlog, and I actually really enjoyed filming it. So hopefully in the future I can do more that I find interesting and intriguing. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.